and welcome to my tutorial on block chords, also known as locked hands. Presumably, this style could be played, God forbid, in a pair of handcuffs. Your hands are very close together. So what are block chords? Well, block chords are basically a 4-note chord with your baby finger, for the most part, playing the melody. Your left hand, instead of playing a bass consideration down here, is also playing melody. So that's basically the simple story. But there's a little bit more to it than that. If I were to take a simple little nursery rhyme, it's a little easier to follow. Let's work in the key of C. I'm going to use a C chord and a G chord. But they should be 4-note chords. So I'm going to add a 6. And of course I'm going to add a 7 to my G chord. I probably won't play my G chord there. It's a little bit on the low side. I'll use a second inversion. So my C6 and my G7. Add the melody with my right hand and it'll sound like this. Okay, now if I were to chord that in my right hand and have my left hand play the bass, it would sound like this. All block chords are doing is keeping the right hand exactly what you were doing, but at the octave, 1 octave below, I'm going to add the melody with my left hand, and it'll look like this without the chords. Now you may notice that I wasn't using any basically fingering with my left hand. I was using my thumb, and I'll explain why I do that near the end of the tutorial. Okay, let's go through the process of how we move around with these block chords. Okay, here I'm starting with my C6 chord. Now as long as I only move a step with my melody, a step meaning one scale tone in either direction, I could go down or I could go up, I'm fine. But if I move more than a step, down to a third or more, it's considered a leap, and I must revoice my chord. If I don't, I end up with only 3 notes in my right hand. I don't want to do that. I want to maintain the 4-note chord, so I would have to revoice the chord, as in revoice. Step, continuing on up, must revoice. Now, I don't go and not make that happen as well, because don't forget your left hand is also playing melody. So when I come down to my G chord, I'm not going to go, I must go. And because I'm leaping up a third, I must revoice the chord. If I play this maybe a little up tempo, and I'm going to add an extra G7 chord here and there, I think you'll get the feel of what this is all about. So now you kind of get the idea of how it works. Block chords do not have any bass reference, so therefore they can be a little bit ambiguous. For example, if I play this chord, we could say, well, that's probably a C6 chord. Well, if I put a bass reference in, yeah, there's my root, there's my third, there's my fifth, and there's my sixth. Of course, it could also be an A minor 7. Root, minor third, fifth, and 7th. But then again, it could be an F major 9 chord. Major 7, which makes that a major 9, my third, and my fifth. So without any bass reference down here, how does the listener know which chord I'm on? Am I on an A minor chord, a C6, or an F major 9 chord? Unbelievably, the listener can follow along limitedly. You can't do it forever, but they can follow along with you for a while and understanding what chord it's supposed to be. For example, if I want this to be a C6 chord and I had a bass reference, well, there'd be obviously no problem, as in something like in block form, you still know that's a C6 chord. What if I wanted it to be an F major 9 chord? Well, with a bass reference, there's no problem. Now, in a block format, started off on an F major 9, which of course is the same as an A minor 7, but you're still going to hear these two chords differently. Here's my F major 9 chord. Same opening chord, but did you hear it change? It had that A minor flavor to it, even though there was no bass reference when I played it. So the listener can follow along with you, but unless you're George Shearing that has a bass player off in the corner that keeps playing the bass, and George would just play block chords till the cows came home. If you're doing solo piano, it's rather limited unless you can slip in some bass references here and there. Block chords, especially when you extend them out to 9ths, 11ths, and 13ths, are very consonant. Here you've got an extended chord, and it has to be less than an octave because your left hand's picking the melody note one octave below. So here I have, as I said, a C13 chord. I don't have a root here because I don't play a root directly below its 9, and I don't have a fifth here because I don't play a fifth directly below its 13. So the only note that I have left of the original triad is the third. And if I were to move that to 11, then I have absolutely no reference to 1, 3, 5 of the basic C chord. So when I play, I'm hoping the listener is hearing and for the most part they do, providing you don't overdo it. You know, I tend to use block chords to wake people up. In my rendition of Misty, which you can get off my website, I kind of start off nice and easy, something like this. Do a little variation here. Everybody's almost falling asleep. And deceptive cadence, just walking down to my tonic, and then I wake them up with block chords. And then move on accordingly. So there's an impact there as I came in with the block chords, and it's an attention getter for sure. Okay, there are situations that can arise where you've got two half tones together. In the case of this F major 7 chord, here I've got a root directly over top of its major 7, which if you've checked out my tutorials on major 7s is not really a good thing. However, we're not looking at that as a major 7, nor are we actually looking at it as a bass note. It's a melody note, therefore it's stylistic and quite acceptable. So you can almost justify anything by saying stylistic. However, if I were to do this, oh, there's another story. I cannot have two half tones together on the top. There must be at least a whole tone. So I usually get asked, well, is that it? Then you always play the melody one octave below the right hand's melody, so your two hands are an octave apart. Quick answer, no, because nothing is ever carved in granite when it comes to music. For example, if I took a great classic Unforgettable and did a block chord thing on it, okay, now I'm going to echo it up here and echo it up here. Could become, I'm going to keep my left hand down here. Now I'm 2 octaves apart and do my echo. Continuing along. This time I'm going to bring my left hand down and pick it up 2 octaves apart. So on and so forth. So you can play them 2 octaves apart. In fact, there was a pianist back in the 30s and 40s named Carmen Cavallero, and he was a real schmaltzy type player. He's the one who did the music track for the Eddie Dushin story. So instead of playing body and soul in the traditional fashion, such as he decided to open it up. He decided to have 3 melodies. Playing octaves in his right hand with some fill, and his left hand picks up the melody down here. So now you literally have 3 melodies. Let's hear how that would sound. It's a little schmaltzy. The blue-haired ladies just loved it though. Something like a little over the top, needless to say. Fortunately, we don't do that anymore. So is the melody always played 1 octave below or 2 octaves below? No. Stay tuned now for part 2 of Block Chords. We have what we call drop 2. Actually, I think the chap who thought this up didn't understand interval relationships. He said, well, there's my octave, I'll just drop it 2, 1, 2. Ends up that he went down, in this case a major third, and created a 10th, creating this interval as if that were the same melody note as that. Gets you a totally different feeling. Here's traditional block chords playing a very simple little tune. We do the drop 2 scenario, 1, 2, the distance of 10. It opens it up, it has a totally different effect. You be the judge. Now, unfortunately, the range for that is rather limited. My left hand can only go probably not much higher than middle C because it thins out, and if I go down here it gets too muddy and murky. So just within an octave range. But it's quite effective, and of course you can mix and match. A song I put out, back rack number on YouTube, House is Not a Home. Around the second verse I used some block chords. Here it is without the block chords. So you get an idea of the tune. Okay, here it is with the block chords. I wanted to do a drop 2 chord here, but it's too low. So I started off with traditional block, but here I switched to drop 2. Now I'm a 10th apart. Continuing along. And I'm crossing the bar line and striking the new chord, then coming down. I don't stop just before the bar line and break into it. So you want to take your block chords over the bar line and end them on a strong beat, a nice phrase over the bar line. Another song that I did, which again you can gain access through my website on YouTube. It's a great little song called The Summer Knows. It's also known as a theme from Summer 42, something like this. A little pedal point here, building it up. I'm gonna slow it down here so you can see what I'm doing. The block chords coming in. I'm now going into the key of A at this point, and I'm doing exactly at the octave. Bass reference to the dominant. Same thing, but this time I'm going to drop to bass reference. Now I'm going into A flat, but it's traditional block. Bass reference, dominant. Same thing, but this time now a drop 2. And so on and so forth. So you get the idea that you can mix and match both. And again, your choice of doing that will be the area that you are on in the piano. Finally, I did mention about the thumb. I tend to use the thumb a lot in my left hand for block chords to allow myself anytime I want to be able to accentuate a particular chord. So instead of playing this F major 7 chord like this, I could play it like this. And that accentuates. So what am I doing? Well, I'm counting from my thumb backwards by half tones down to my 4th finger and coming up as quickly as I can, certainly without the pedal, it'll blur. So you want to hear all individual notes, but you do it fast enough, there's no time value. So as you arrive, you strike your chord. Slow motion, strike, strike. Let's see if I can do something in half decent taste, whatever that is. How about... I'll throw one in here. And one more here. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on the block chords. Don't forget to check out some of the other tutorials I have up there. And until next time, have a great day. Bye for now.